What's up guys, Hanish here, and today we have some Destiny 2 new stuff to talk about. We've got a new hidden secret Osiris Emblem, which is pretty cool. I'll show you how you can get that in a moment. On top of this, we have word from Bungie about 3 of coins and exactly how they're supposed to be working, as well as some known issues with them, so it's pretty interesting stuff. On top of this, I wanted to just mention something about Bright Dust and the Dawning coming up this week. So before we talk about 3 of coins and all of that stuff, Bungie did release the new Osiris comic today. They actually have a new section on Bungie.net, comics.bungie.net. So the new comic is now indeed available. It's pretty cool. I haven't had a chance to actually read through it fully yet, although there is something pretty interesting to note. I'm not exactly sure who found this. I believe some people on Reddit actually posted it first. I can't give credit to exactly who it was, unfortunately, but there is actually a code for an emblem hidden inside of the comic, which is really cool, and it's a code that you can apply on Bungie.net. So if you don't want to know how to do it, if you want to find it yourself, I would skip, a few seconds forward in this video. But on screen right now, you can see the last page, or a section of the last page from the comic, and you can see Prophecies of Osiris. Above that, there is actually some Morse code hidden. You can see those lines and dots above the text. Now, if you put the correct numbers into Bungie.net, where you actually redeem codes, you can get an emblem for Destiny 2. And it's a really cool emblem that you can see on screen right here. And the code for it is XFVKHPN97. You can see it on screen right now. So you go to Bungie.net, go up to your kind of profile icon in the top right or on the left hand side if you're on the app. From there, you should be able to redeem a code. You put the code in, and then when you load back into Destiny, you'll actually be able to go to your emblem collections in the vault and pick this thing up. Really cool looking emblem. Kind of harks back a little bit to some of the old school Osiris emblems, some of the flawless ones and the trials ones from back in D1. Definitely pretty neat. But now let's move on and talk about these 3 of coins. So Bungie actually came out and made a statement about this. They said that throughout the weekend, they've been monitoring player feedback concerning the recently added 3 of coins consumable offered by Xur. We'd like to give some clarification on the functionality of this item. So when players use the 3 of coin consumable, this provides a 50% increase in the base chance of being rewarded an exotic engram upon activity completion. Using this consumable does not guarantee an exotic reward upon completing a set number of activities, but rather increased chances upon each activity completion. So essentially, it does sound like the chance scales up as you continue to complete activities without having an exotic drop. And this does make sense with some of what people are reporting, that they've had 3 of coins active and they've got an exotic like 3 or 4 hours into that period of time. The 50% increase to the base chance of being rewarded an exotic engram sounds like quite a large number, but obviously that doesn't necessarily mean that you've got a big chance of getting an exotic each and every time. They added that they found heroic strikes do not currently grant higher chances for exotics when using 3 of coin consumables compared to Vanguard strikes. They're looking to address this with a future hotfix expected in early 2018. So there is actually a bug if you're running heroic strikes, they're not currently granting the chance that they should be for exotics. So that would explain why perhaps some of those sources, considering they were supposed to have been buffed, aren't actually dropping too many exotic engrams. So for now, Vanguard strikes actually sound like the more rewarding place to be, at least if you're farming for exotics. That doesn't necessarily give us a ton of clarification on how we could use them more effectively, but I guess it does give us a bit of information. The longer that we have them on, the more chance that we have of getting that exotic. An interesting thing that I've heard a lot of people saying is that they're actually getting a lot of exotics from their milestones when they turn them in, with the 3 of coins also active. Now, milestones do have a tendency to drop exotics anyway. One of my friends said they got 4 exotics from, I believe it was like 5 milestones that it turned in. I tried it out. I got 2 exotics from 4 milestones. So the first one I get an exotic, next one I don't, the one after that I do, and then the final one I don't. This doesn't clarify whether, it really is giving a much bigger chance when you're turning in milestones, but it's something to think about. Bungie do say that they'll continue to monitor feedback and address issues in the new year. So that is the stance we have on 3 of coins right now, guys. You'll have to let me know your thoughts, but at least we have some word from Bungie, and they are going to continue to, see how things go. On to some other stuff for this week though. Of course, the Dawning is actually launching on Tuesday the 19th, and this will come on the weekly reset. I'll do a quick reminder of what's coming inside of this event in a moment, but firstly I wanted to point out some stuff about Bright Dust. So Bungie did confirm that Tess Everest will be selling a whole bunch of the stuff that comes inside of the Dawning loot boxes. So basically over the course of the event, they gave the impression that most of what's there, or indeed everything that you can get from those loot boxes, will be available for actual purchase purchase at some point. So if there's something specific that you see and you really want to get hold of, then it's going to be worth kind of keeping your eye open. And of course, that also means that it's going to be worth holding on to any bright dust that you have. And I mentioned this the other day because, of course, right now you can also spend them on the Crucible and Vanguard boons from Eververse. And these do give you a chance to earn some of the Eververse loot, but they're incredibly inconsistent as well as being pretty expensive. So my advice is to just hold on to any silver dust that you have. On top of this though, something worth pointing out is that many of the legendary shaders that you've probably got stacks and stacks of if you've been playing a lot can actually dismantle into bright dust. So things like Vanguard Magnus Gloss here, I'm deleting a bunch of them because it's not really a favorite shader of mine. We've got things like Midnight Talons which will work. It's basically any of the ones that you get from Eververse, also things like Monochromatic, Xeno Silver and Metro Shift, as well as Suros Modular Shine. There are a whole bunch of other ones that will produce bright dust when dismantled, but right here I delete about half of each stack that can actually produce this bright dust. I mean, these are shaders that I'm probably just not going to use, plus you do get quite a lot of them. So right there, from just deleting, you know, like half of each of these stacks, I've got well over 600 bright dust, and I carry on for a few minutes here, and by the end I've got 2,100 bright dust. So I'm pretty sure it was around about 1,000 bright dust I earned just from deleting, you know, some shaders that I'm probably not going to use. So it's definitely worth bearing that in mind. I'm sure many of you already knew that, but it's just a quick reminder, and perhaps if you didn't know that, then it can help you out in picking up some of this stuff from Eververse, because of course it does tend to be pretty expensive. You know, some of the exotic ships when they come up, sparrows, even the emotes can be thousands and thousands of bright dust. So just a little tip there if you want to try and avoid spending any actual money. Of course, we will be getting some of these Dawning Engrams from milestones and things like that as well. Like I said though, the Dawning will arrive on the 19th at the reset time. The tower as well as the farm will be covered in snow. We'll be able to jump in and even have some snowball fights, and this is inside of the social spaces as well as in strikes, where you can pick up snowballs and blast enemies to stun them and deal big damage, which is pretty interesting. We also have Mayhem returning to the Crucible, where all of your abilities recharge much faster, which I'm pretty excited for. Be interesting to see how it changes the gameplay up a little bit. And as I mentioned before, there will be a milestone that you can pick up Dawning Engrams from each week, and it says that completing Crucible Mayhem or becoming Legend in Strikes will reward you. So I wonder if there are any other additional little things that they'll throw into the strikes, perhaps some interesting modifiers, although they haven't confirmed any of this. There'll also be schematics for Dawning gifts, where you can actually take them and go to different locations and craft unique gifts for the vendors, and then they actually give you a gift of some sort in return. And they also threw a little picture in right there of what looks like ice hockey in the tower hangar, so that's going to be pretty interesting. I will keep you guys up to date with anything worth knowing when the Dawning actually drops. In a time where Eververse, microtransactions, all that kind of stuff has been a hot topic of conversation, it will be interesting to see the community response and exactly how Bungie have handled all of this stuff. Anyway guys, that is going to round up this video. I hope you have found it useful. Pretty neat emblem that we've picked up right there. Of course, we've learned about 3 of coins, and hopefully the silver dust stuff will be useful for some folks if you didn't know it already. So let me know in the comment section any thoughts you have on this stuff. If you have enjoyed the video, a like is very much appreciated. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit subscribe to see more Destiny 2 content. But for now, have an awesome day.